This time, just me, alone in the cold, dark world of casting. But that's fine. It's a-okay, cause we're ready to get in here with SanFran, Suprised at the Disco, and the Florida Mafia. Pretty looking forward to it. Florida had a really close first game, but they ended up losing in map 5. Meanwhile, the side of SanFran lost their first match in a complete and utter blowout. They got 0 forward. So to put it simply, two losers facing off for their first win. Right here, right now, right in front of all of us. You love to see it. You love to see it. And I will love to see when this round ends, so I can take a nap before filling my head with calculus and economics. Let's go ahead and get right into it. As soon as I get the all clear from the two teams that we are ready to go. It's looking like some of, it looks like the Florida Mafia coach is already ready to go. So that's good. Florida's ready. SanFran's ready. And we'll get in on Volskaya.
Traveling to Volskaya Industries.
Alrighty then. Just gonna take a quick look at something, make sure no one's cheating. Okay, we are good to go on that front.
Why is this door shut?
Alright. I was gone. But I am back.
Kitty, come here.
The cat does not love you. The cat loves for nothing except whoever feeds it. I don't know what to tell you.
It's purring.
Because he thinks you're going to give him food. And she's stolen the cat. Anyway, going into the game. Bit of a interesting defense here from SanFran. They're holding up in this little point over here. Not necessarily a bad idea, but it's going to be pretty easy to spam it with this high spammage comp that Florida's running. A lot of burst damage, a lot of spamming. Pretty good place to start from. They don't have a hit scan though, so Distance is going to be in a pretty good position to keep the rest of his team protected. Best defense is a good offense. It's going to be difficult for them to even push onto the point, but Distance, as he gets a little bit low, is going to need to get supported a little bit more than he has been. This Zen is out for his blood, but he's out for the Zens, and he'll manage to take him down. Meanwhile, down here in the depths of hell, Dragonborn managing to somehow stay alive through all of this, and his team, mostly by the help of Distance, manages to win the first engagement pretty handily. Zarya tempting fate here. Farah might try and boop her off, just decides not to. Doesn't have the utility for it at the moment. Genji's going on a little bit of a Farah hunt, but he's going to be the Farah hunted for that moment. Distance coming up on this barrage. It's the only ultimate in the game right now until Thrash Dude all his coalescence. Distance goes down. They're going to depend on this coalescence to keep them alive to kind of stabilize after losing a man, but it gets a little bit even. Still even after the resurrect. Thrash Dude, the healer, the most poorly protected from his positioning. His team have kind of dug their own theoretical and realistic grave by keeping themselves in that tiny little pocket. Thrash Dude is going to stay alive for as long as he can, just delay. Wants to give his teammates a lot of time to kind of reset up on point B as well. Swapping off of the Bastion onto the Mei. I'm not quite sure that I like that. I actually think the Bastion's really strong on second, really weak on first. So I think they played that backwards. I think Mei is a lot stronger on first, but this is what they've decided to do. Distance, hiding in this corner, he has the barrage. Is he going to use it? All he really needs is to maybe pick off one or two. Melts the Zen. The killer might be looking for a shatter, but honestly, I think he's probably fit to just leave that be. His team has already put a lot of utility using the Dragon Strike into this, and it's not looking like it's possible for them to even get any real space out of it whatsoever.
My ultimate ability is ready.
Mr. Sin getting taken out. Now the Hanzo just poking in some damage. Again, he needs to get back the Dragon Strike that he just used. But other than that, basically 6 ultimates. Either online or coming online for Florida. Really 5. I don't know why I said 6. Forget about it. Compared to the 1 ult that SanFran has. Not even close to any other ults, comparatively. So if the opposing side of Florida does push in, it's going to be a lot on the Mercy's Valkyrie. If it finally gets popped, but so many people are already dead, their healing cannot outclass the healing of the Zenyatta Transcendence. Does manage to get a res off, but is it going to be anything more than just a little bit of ult charge for the enemy team? Cobert tries to get one. He might have pushed his in off. He didn't. He still has a shatter, but he'll die before it actually lands. Dragonborn is trying to stay alive. With help of that Zarya bubble, it's going to be a little bit more possible. He knows that he needs to get his Blizzard here if his team want any chance. Pops the Blizzard, but is either team going to live long enough to actually benefit? Yeah, the counter Blizzard's going to be enough. This should be the take for the side. Should be a take for the side of Florida. And notice SanFran kind of walled themselves off at the very last second. Seems like the Mei might have been a little bit confused about her own wall. Really fast take coming from that side. Huge Blizzard deflect. Was there a Blizzard deflect? Was that what that was? Huh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I didn't even catch it. I'm bad. Yeah, I guess there had to have been. Beta caster. Shut up, deity. First off, my brain is already in pain. I got around about 3 hours of sleep. Haven't eaten all day until like 5 minutes ago. And for me it's now like 3:30. So yeah, the casting is going to be a little bit more scuffed than it already is. Not to mention I just came off of casting one of the more intense games of the league so far.
Incoming in 30 seconds.
Pretty standard defense on the side of Florida though. They're running, again, it's just really standard. They have Dreaves on the hit scan in case the enemy team runs afar. They have Mr. Sin for the spam wrap. Nothing too special, nothing too interesting, but is it even going to be able to deal with the GOAT's composition? Too bad Seam play is really intense. Shanghai was 4-0 after its first match. I dare you to call them bad again. Florida's going to be dependent on Mr. Cinder getting this Junkrat ultimate really fast. If he doesn't manage to do that, this is as good as finish for them. He's going around the backside. That's a pretty good place to get a lot of charge, as we see him already at 62%, outclassing almost everyone else right now. He's just doing so much damage, and no one's even turning around to give him a second thought. Now, how much of that was Sind getting a lot of good damage, and how much of that was his team just somehow finding good coordination and better picks on each other, or better picks on the enemy? Not sure. In either case, though, the end result is still that Florida has managed to not only win the first engagement, but they also have the tire to hopefully win them the second one. They are going to be playing against a lot of ultimates, though, so it's going to be a bit of a tough fight. Sind has to use his ultimate really quickly, or just decide to not use it whatsoever, because at this stage, even if he does get like any kills with it, he'd need a 6K to have even a slight chance. So many ultimates still just stockpiled for Florida. They gave up first, but they have 6 ready to defend second. Your Pinky Toe has a lot of high charge array, despite having just died a few seconds ago. Now it'll be interesting to see how the teams decide to push in on this engagement. Junkrat Tire coming through, it'll get melted, but the Rhine won't, as he does a lot of damage along with the Zarya. So this will be the side of Florida managing to repel this first attack. Your Pinky Toe still just basically using that D.Va as an ult battery. D.Va can't stop Zarya from hitting her with the beam. Defense Matrix doesn't block it. Those are my dogs. Ignore it, I guess. Ryan in the corner, looking for a fatty shatty. The question is if anyone's going to spot him out before he can. He sees the opportunity, manages to at least get D.Va. But the sound barrier will almost entirely discount anything they might have gotten with that. Killer gets brought down weak, and the tire gets destroyed before it can find anything. Zenyatta still has ult, trying to keep his team alive if you think that it's worth it, but so far, for some reason, they've just decided it's not really worth committing too much to this until finally, after everyone's already dead, it gets popped. Just a major thrashing coming onto the Florida squad. It'll surprise me if they can even get anything close to a decent recontest here. Mr. Sin trying his very best, and it's gonna only manage to get about 5 seconds or so before he gets melted. No one's able to touch, and somehow SanFran will cap with even more time than Florida did, after Florida already had a really, really quick first cap. But, you know, that's 2 CP. Yay! Just some seemingly missed timings as far as ultimates went. Also some really odd composition choices from the side of Florida. Now Florida, in the past, has always been one of the more aggressive teams, and they've, in preseason, they leveraged that into a victory. In their first regular season game, it ended up backfiring and causing them to be, I think, kind of shred to pieces. Who was the team that went 0-4 again? No, it wasn't Florida. So actually, this is the first map of the league. Well, I don't want to say that yet. If SanFran wins this, it'll be the first map of the regular season that they've won. Triple tank on the side of SanFran. Meanwhile, nothing too special from Florida. They're just going to try and begin to poke into each other right now. Get a little bit ult charge on both tank sides. Again, Florida has a kind of hyper-aggressive style. They don't want to wait too long, and after the first pick comes through, they especially want to try and capitalize on that. Sin is getting in a lot of damage from the back line, and now DeKiller is leading the charge until he finally goes down, him and the Genji. But they will still cap this pretty quickly.
Damage boost engaged.
Pretty well done from them. The only ultimate that's really on the board at the moment is going to be DeKiller having the Earth Shatter. Maybe your Pinky Toe getting his in just a few seconds as well. So if Florida can use the fact that they have the only ultimates in the game right now, but instead they'll just get melted as DeKiller tries to get a little bit too aggressive. All he does is not only waste his Earth Shatter, but also feed a good bit of ult charge to the enemy team. They just need to step it back. There's no way that they can afford, or that they can really attempt to capture at this point. However, looking at it now, they do have a Grab Dragon combo, and your Pinky Toe is going to be looking to get into a good position to grab them from the side. He has to join up with his team. Grab comes out. Both the Dragon Strike and Dragon Blade are coming out by the looks of it. Is it going to be enough? Apparently not. Thrash Dude manages to keep his entire team alive with the help of that Transcendence. A lot of ultimates used for the side of Florida, and they just didn't manage to actually get any work done compared to Thrash Dude. Going into the next fight, the only ultimates on the board are Cobert having his Shatter and DeBink having his Whole Hog. SanFran has a really good composition here in terms of the fact that it's just so tanky and so difficult to kill that even if they initially lose point, they will be able to self-sustain until the rest of their teammates can come back. It's a pretty good idea of dealing with 2CP, abusing the early or close spawns as well as they can, and it looks like they're going to need to as two of their most important members go down. Kill is swinging away, he misses the Shatter, but with the help of his teammates he'll be able to survive the actual battle. They want to try and stop them from even approaching the point. Mei gets knocked back almost off the map, doesn't manage to touch in time. Well, that's an interesting sound. Two teams are having a really intense first map. Already, it's 2-4, and the side of Florida still has more than a minute remaining. So basically, all that Florida wants to do right now, obviously they want to stop SanFran from capping whatsoever, but Florida's main goal here is to just delay for as long as they can, because if SanFran, even if they do cap but it's in overtime, then SanFran will either will have to settle for a draw or for a loss. At that stage it'll be impossible for them to get another recontest. So Florida is in a really strong position now. You know, they have a lot of wiggle room. Even if they do very poorly, it's not the end of the world because they'll still get another go at it once we go to the third round. Side of Florida kind of learning from their mistakes, playing things a little bit, you know, kind of leaning towards wanting this high spam damage comp. Something that can pretty easily deal with goats, or at least that's what they're hoping for. Running this Pharah and the Junkrat. Pharah needs to be doing some early damage. No one can really deal with her unless the Pharah gets a little bit too close to the ground, as she's kind of looking to do right now. Now as they're just hitting him from her back, Pharah's getting so much ult charge, doing so much damage, but no one's dying. That's the strength of this GOAT's composition, so much healing. They still managed to get the first 2 kills. And the fact of the matter is that Mr. Sin just didn't manage to get the ult charge they needed to in time. If he had found a barrage a little bit earlier, this probably still would have been a winnable fight, but for now, I think he just wants to try and retreat if he can. D.Va might try and follow him though. Not only D.Va, Zarya as well, and he will go down. little bit staggered. He should have time to respawn in, and maybe even get in a good position because the enemy team isn't going to see him coming to begin with. This next fight should be really difficult for SanFran to win, though, because even though they seem to have a little bit of an ult advantage, the two ults that matter of Mr. Sin and the Junkrat tire are going to make this pretty difficult until the Junkrat tire goes down. Sin is still in a position to use this ult, and he needs to use it soon. His team is just dying, and nothing's being done to counter it. He seems to have no focus as to where to actually land the barrage, though, and so no one goes down for it. It just keeps going and going and going and going. The Moira's going to try and delay for as long as it can for Mr. Sin to get back in, but even though he'll be able to touch, it'll only be for a few seconds before once again out of the frying pan into the fire. The killer tries to slam, doesn't even manage to get it off. And we're going into another round of overtime. That's okay. More time for me with my already oxygen deprived brain to just keep on talking nonsense. Keep on going again and again and again. All right. So I think that we can see the pretty clear problem right here. Both teams are very good at attacking and not very good at defending. So really, the answer is the team that wins is going to be whichever team can figure out how to get around the dominating offense of the other squad. This is a defensive game now, much more than it is an offensive one. Florida not running anything particularly special. Again, they're just running what worked for them last time. Now it should be impossible for them to capture with time remaining. And Dreves is immediately melted by Thrash. There's the Resurrect though, so he should be taken right back up. Killa trying to push in. He must see that the run's weak, but it's a bit of a mistake. He gets hooked for it. Dragon gets taken down. First real pick that matters, and now that's a second one. SanFran finding no respite here. They're just losing man after man after man. These individual skirmishes. Two teams are kind of fighting all over the point. And again, it just seems like whichever team is attacking kind of naturally has a better idea in that moment of how to dictate the flow of the battle to their favor. Going into this, there is going to be the rally for the side of Florida, so a lot of extra sustain for them with that armor, especially considering that no one on the enemy team really counters armor all that well. The Killer has his Earth Shatter, but the enemy Ryan does not, so there's an opportunity for him here. It manages to find at least one. They're going to be kept alive by the Transcendence. Mr. Sin uses his Dragon Blade, but it gets blocked out by the Trans and the Shatter as well. Dreves decides to use his Dragon Strike before your Pinky Toe has his Graviton ready. It's going to be a bit of a mistake. Now Pinky Toe is just kind of waiting here at the side, and Dreves will go down. It's an unfortunate turn of events. I'll be surprised if they could even manage to touch the point. Doesn't seem like it. Yeah, that'll be finally the end of the road for the side of Florida. Only managing to cap first point, and now they have to try and defend first for around about 3 minutes. Now the question for the side of Florida becomes, what do we do this time that's different? What do we do this time that we didn't do the other times? Because now, if, you know, best case scenario for them, obviously, is the full hold, but that's not very realistic compared to how we've seen these two teams play against each other so far. So what's more likely, at the very least, is that SanFran manages to at least cap first, and honestly, probably second. They have the time for it. We've seen them do it twice already. So now it's the puzzle of what exactly does Florida do this time differently to stop that from happening. They basically trust that SanFran is going to run this GOATS comp, and it's looking like it, and they think that the answer to that is a damage boosted Bastion and maybe the Reaper. As we see Cobert and Party slowly approaching, they see where the enemy team is, and they're going to go up the back side. Are they going to notice this coming? I think if they will, but even though they do, are they going to be able to do anything about it? The enemy team has managed to get so close. Cobert almost gets melted down, but unfortunately for Sind, he will reach his end. They're trading at this point, but the trades are not going evenly, or at least in Florida's favor anymore. Again, over and over again, we see these first points falling in a single attack. It's a really good Okay. It was a really good idea from the side of SanFran to go around the backside. I actually really liked that idea. It was smart. But again, we just see that it seems like no one in this league either understands how to or knows how to. They haven't capped A. No one's capped A. They went back and capped A. But they had to leave their main tank behind in order to do so, and they'll lose distance for it. Florida could still push in off of this. I guess they're deciding against it. They want to try and block someone off from the rest of their team. It's not a bad idea, but it'll probably only work about once. Or at least it should only work about once. Blocking off the Zarya, she should get absolutely demolished. The Rhine is their protector, but all that means is that he's going to be melted as well. First, the Lucio will fall as he tries to support his tank line, but it's just a real mess now. The entire team is being routed, trying to get out with their lives, and now Kite kind of deciding, I can't heal anyone if my entire team's dead. So he tries to find a different way out. He could still get staggered here. It's down to a minute and a half for the side of SanFran, and both sides have a lot of ults at their disposal. Florida having 5, almost 6. Meanwhile, SanFran does have 6. Slam will come down from the side of Florida, and that'll be enough to win them this fight. 2 people already down for SanFran. It surprised me quite a lot if they even wanted to commit anything to this. The Bank will die. Gets completely cut off from the rest of his team. The DMAC comes through, and now it's just Mr. Sin getting a little bit aggressive in the enemy team's face. He wants to freeze them and get some staggers off if he can. The killer, after just using his Earthshower ultimate, already halfway back to it. This is still a 5 versus 6 ultimate in game right now, and considering that there's probably only going to be 1 fight left remaining, this is going to be a mess. The wall is still ready. Still want to use it. They saw the Diva mech come through. I guess she must have assumed it was the Diva. In either case, managed to find her out. Guess she puts it past it. It's just a lot of ultimates. Diva Bomb manages to find 2. Both supports. That should be the end of the line for the SanFran team. Try as they might, using literally all 6 ultimates wasn't enough to save them from that Diva Bomb. Basically, none of the other ultimates from the Florida side ended up mattering all that much. That Diva Bomb just managed to find enough. And it'll be a tied game. Yay! 2 CP. Yay! Oh, I think I know what this is. A lot of healing came out here in order to save his team from 2 ultimates. Actually, I say that, 3 ultimates. Grav, Dragon Strike, and Dragon Blade. But if you think about it, one team got 3 cards and the other team got 1. So, which team actually ended up being better? Eh? 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 Putting in earbuds for Dragonborn. Dragonborn. Get out of here. Earbuds. Your earbuds, you're going in. Is that the first map? It was. Was the first map. Spectate blue only. Alright. We good to go. Next map is gonna be Lijiang. You know what I like about Lijiang? Lijiang is literally impossible to draw. And just going to go ahead and make sure that we are good to go. We're going to need a minute, please, and thank you. Okay, so we need to wait it up. Side of Florida needs a 5-minute break for some reason or another. Cool. 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 Alright, well. Forest needs to communicate like they did in that last hold. Maybe. Was there communication there? It looked like everyone just threw ults at the middle of the pile. And one Diva Bomb ended up being the one that ended up mattering. I mean, maybe. Like, here's the thing. I've reached a point now where my brain is just all centered towards play-by-play at the moment, because it's all it can really manage to do right now, without totally collapsing on itself. So as of right now, I have like no retention of basically anything that happened. Trivia for Alwyn. Yeah, you're right. Alright, everyone. Well, I guess that we're just stuck here together, doing nothing. Forever. Eventually, I'm sure that Florida will tell me that they're good to go. But in the meantime, nothing. You guys got any questions? Just in general. Trivia over Uber. Who says no? Listen, man. Here's the thing. You think that Uber started off the rap god? He did not. He did not. He spent like 5 years. Cat, have you eaten yet? I did eat. And it was a good idea and a bad one. It was a good idea because now my brain doesn't hurt. It was a bad idea because now, considering I got 3 hours of sleep, and considering that now my stomach is full, I'm a little bit tired instead. So I went from being like aggravated and in pain to just kind of wanting to take a nap. But, you know, it is what it is. How hard is it to be a beta? I'm really not sure, Deity. I think really it's best if one looks towards their own experiences. Um, how hard has it been for you to be a beta? A beta player and a beta caster. Like you managed to hit both categories, so I think you have me a little bit outclassed in that sense. Beta caster I may be, I mean, I still only cover one base. Any more questions, everyone? It can legitimately be about anything, friends. Literally anything. I don't care. You want to ask for my social security number? I'll give you a few digits. Maybe you can figure it out. No? We'll just sit here in silence? Because again, look, here's the thing. Normally, in the event that we have a kind of extended break like this, I kind of like to go over what happened and kind of think about the game and what a team did well or team didn't, or a player did well or a player didn't. But at the moment, you nerd, pay attention to the Discord. I don't pay attention to the Discord. Like the reason, either at me if you want me to see something in the Discord. Based on that, you got this Florida. I don't pay attention to the Discord. I cannot afford to pay attention to both the Discord and to Twitch chat. But apparently we're all good. And also, furthermore, if you want me to see something in the Discord, you need to at me about it. If you don't, I'm never going to see it. Alright, but either way, we're good to go. So I guess we'll start. Perfect. Why does the viewership go up when nothing's happening? What an interesting thing. You know what I think it is? I think it's because the hype is building. I think it's the suspense. People join in. They're just like, what's this all about? I'll watch it for a second or two. And then once they actually get into watching the game, they go, meh, not a fan. I'll just go watch Contenders. And you know, that's fair. That's fine. What score? Score is 0-0 because the first round was a tie, because 2CP is a bad game mode. Now, going into it, I like this map quite a lot. I like Lijiang in general. I think that every single one of the three maps has a lot going for it in different play styles that you either can or are forced to play. This map in particular benefits from the Pharah, so we're seeing that from both sides. Beyond that, I kind of like seeing the Sombra player. I think it'll be interesting to see what he can manage to get done. Yeah, let's go. It's very important that you win the Pharah duel to begin with on this, because otherwise you basically are forced to swap off Pharah. Sin kind of getting peppered in the back. The rest of his team still trading on the ground though. Distance has been taking pot shots at Sin this entire time, but only managed to connect with one. This is kind of a duel in the skies, and now Distance is going to be trying to hit the backside of the enemy team. Decides that it's really not worth trying to pepper a highly moving target. Manages to find one pretty quickly and is still hitting them from the side, getting the Zarya low. His initial capture for Florida, but SanFran is not happy with that, and they're slowly pushing on, slowly aggressing, getting numbers with the pulse bomb. That should be a pretty big decider. Dreves trying to contest for as long as he can. As far as still just flying around, no one's managed to kill her until just now. 28% is not a bad place to start. Ebuds trying to harass, nip the heals of this Mercy. Gets her weak, but she's just gonna get healed anyway. Distance has this barrage, depending on when he decides that it's worth using it. Dreves wants to kind of hack the Mercy so he can get that kill off. Trades are coming in on both sides. Distance. Getting kills. She's dead. Easy. Feeding a lot of the bubble charge, but eventually does finish it off. Hacked. A hacked Pharah is basically a brick bird. Not much you can really do with that, but now that their wings are back, the help of E-Buds and the Zarya grab, that'll effectively be a team wipe. Pushing onto this Zarya, killing her in her spawn. They might also choose to go after the Sombra. They kind of have to in order to protect their own Pharah. Two teams are kind of just peppering at each other this whole way. It's 80% to capture now. Dreves and the Zarya have their ultimates, and that should be enough to at least win a fight. At least that's what Florida is going to be hoping for. Ultimate comes out, Cobert should get melted, and he will be. But Distance, also getting in quite a lot of damage, manages to keep the fight fairly even until your Pinky Toe decides it's had enough, and he starts slicing and dicing through the enemy team with his melting beam. It's not really enough. E-Bud still manages to kill him. Pulse Bomb Stick gets man on fire as well. SanFran is looking to win this first point pretty quickly. Ryan tried something. D-Cubed almost going down. Finally, E-Buds will finish the job. It's a mess. Sin, slicing, gets a kill. Like, I don't know. At one point Florida was winning. At one point SanFran was running. You know, listen. I want to take this round as seriously as all the other rounds. However, I am at the moment not in a fantastic state of mind to do so. I am tired.
Surrender my will.
So this is gonna be like more scuffed than usual, friends. Sin, getting aggressive. Kills onto SanFran. They're doing it. They're doing it. They're doing it. And they're doing it some more. As far as ults go, there are some. Ultimates are around. Distance pushing in with this Pharah. It's a good pick. Other than Dreves, no one can really do anything about it. And even then, all that Dreves can really do is hack him. Well, I mean, I don't want to call this a boring game. It's just more so that the two teams, you know, the two teams don't necessarily have standout players so far that we've seen. Distance is good, Send is good, Dreves is good, E-Buds is good, Cobra is good, but none of them are like consistently insane players, right? So it's difficult to make any sort of narrative here. You understand? All right, let me go ahead and add in some director commentary here, I suppose. So basically, when you're casting a game like this, casting a series, what you're basically trying to do is you're trying to find a storyline, right? Most people understand that. And most of the storylines that we have are pretty well figured out at this point, right? So, Athena is an insane Genji. She gets insane blades consistently, right? Who else? Cold Chill is Shanghai's DPS carry. But Plug is the one who plays Bastion, and that's interesting as well. Right? There's storylines there, and they're interesting to follow. But here, until one really forms, you know, it's two fairly evenly matched teams slamming into each other over and over again. Trade coming out from both sides, but that's really about it. SanFran's going to be looking to take point control, and they will eventually get it. Suprised is going to be taken down. The team just has to kind of try and retreat back. They know that this is a very difficult position to be in. But finally, oh gracious lord, we have an Ana player. What are you doing? We do not have an Ana player anymore. Freeze coming out from distance that should stop the entire Florida team in their tracks. Team is being blocked from even leaving their spawn doors. It's going to be a difficult time for them to recontest, considering all the ultimates they're going to have to push into, it really only having two of their own. Duran now gets split off from the rest of their team. He has no means of defending himself, just trying to keep himself alive for as long as he can. He will eventually be taken out, and E-Buds will get a quadruple. Also going to be looking to demech this Diva, and off of that, you're going to get the kill and the stagger. SanFran not wanting to be overshined by the Florida team. They're trying to be a little bit aggressive here. Send could have just been killed if Distance had turned around, but Distance decided it was more worth it to try and block someone off from entering the main doors. Doesn't seem to matter though, as E-Buds goes on a killing spree, taking out everyone in his path with a 15-player kill streak. Eva still just living, either whether it be in the back line, whether it be in front, it doesn't matter. Eva is just always the monster lurking in the closet. Finishes it off 1-1.
Disciplined mind is your most dependable ally.
Five, four, three, two, one. Round three. Capture objective.
Alright, their team's pushing in. Both running a May, both running a Reaper. It's an interesting decision. We'll see who ends up being a little bit better off here. I mean, we've seen SanFran do well on these heroes. It kind of just feels like Florida is kind of trying to copy them and beat them at their own game. However, E-Buds proving himself to be the dominant one in this position. Push it on to 2, is going to help finish off the 3rd. Now hitting him from the side, wants to take out the Zenyatta, will get the job done. With the help of his teammates, also getting Reaper.
My ultimate ability is charging.
E-Bud's doing quite a lot of damage there. Pretty well done from him. Now, what is the rest of the SanFran team doing? What exactly does their positioning look like in this instance? Well, Distance and E-Buds are going to be staying in this corner. They're going to get spotted out early though, so it's going to be a little bit of a risky play as Distance gets charged in. Trading evenly, the res will come out, making it a little bit unfavorable of a situation for SanFran. E-Bud's trying to use his ultimate to keep their enemy team back, but all it does is leave them open to getting shattered. Killa getting in a lot of work. Two teams now trying evenly. Again, the Buds, E-Buds, is doing such a good job. Even when the rest of his team falls or falters, he's now managing to, with this Reaper, get a lot of openings for the rest of the team to follow up on, or that he himself follows up on. Now, even as he dies, his team did get enough time to come back in. Distance, looking for a little bit of an escape. He knows he was kind of caught out a bit there. Did he have to ult? Maybe not. And now, risky maneuver, I'll say, and it ends up not yet killing him, in fact paying off a bit. Now Dreaves should go down, and the Rhine will as well. There's not a lot of time for another recontest here. The DPS line of SanFran is really coming alive right now in this match. So far, Florida has nothing to deal with it. Now going after the Mercy, wanted to take her out, but as she flies up in the air, it's going to be pretty difficult. The Mei is freezing the enemy team out from even being able to approach the point, but they still manage to somehow hold on. Mei almost hit against the wall, but a little bit of map geometry stops it from happening, and now Distance wants to close it out with his ultimate. Doesn't quite get that done, but he manages to basically save his teammates from being slammed by the Reinhardt. Pretty well done. E-Buds and Distance doing a good job. That'll be SanFran taking the first map. SanFran taking the second map, but the first team to take a map.
Play of the game. Double, triple.
Pretty well done combination here. Pretty relentless chase of the Zarya as well.
Pure class.
One person refusing to vote. What a shame. Now we go on to Kings. Another good Reaper map. So, another good Reaper and Mei map, really. So, you know. The fun continues, friends. The fun continues. What's the score? It's 1-0 in favor of 1-0 in favor of SanFran. Two maps have been played, but the first one was drawn. Yeah. Switch Cobert for Ben Soccer. Gotcha. Cobert, you're in spectators now. Ben, you're on the blue team now. Covert, okay, Covert, you're spectating blue team now. Alright, Florida says they're ready. SanFran's probably ready. Okay, yep. Let's go.
Now entering King's Row.
I'm going to take a couple seconds as well to go ahead and alter something. Actually, hold on. This is something that we're probably gonna, or at least that I'm gonna want to start doing over and over again. So here's the thing. Here's what sucks about spectating on console. You have a set amount of key bindings, right? You really can't do anything with a lot of them. Now, I basically managed to find about the best way of going about it. Kind of. But, oh, what the hell. Oh, what is this? It's double bound. This isn't good. Yep, I'm sure it's fine. If it isn't, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, point that I was gonna make was you really can't double bind things, except that, I guess. So so you want to be able to show health bars, right? Because it just makes things visually easier. But you don't really have the key bindings to do that, because you have to have a place for pausing the game. Long story short, I don't really get it. Streaming this on console, it has its drawbacks. Anyway, that was your streaming or your casting lesson from trivia. Ben, distance now on the Zarya. They're running a triple tank. So Distance, who originally was a DPS, now running a tank. It's an interesting play. A lot of sustain. Is also going to be a lot of fat ult charge for Dreaves, assuming he can find a good angle to spam them from. As well as Mr. Cinder. They're going to be looking to go through this window, just completely ignore the choke point the Zarya and Hanzo are. Two teams kind of staging. One's now gained the right side high ground. They basically are forcing the enemy side of SanFran all the way back into that corner. Both teams kind of in the hotel. They don't want to leave each other exposed, but they know that they have to either attack or defend this point. They are pushing the Hanzo all the way out of the high ground. It's not a bad play, but still, so far into this round, they've completely swapped around sides. One side now back in this corner, and they're supposed to be coming from over there. It's so far not going to be working out too well for them, as their Mercy and Reinhardt both go down. They really lose nothing for it as they res their only casualty. Sind is kind of stuck here in the back line. He doesn't want to waste all the time that he's gotten setting up over here, so he's going to give himself a health pack and probably just try and stay back here, I guess. Meanwhile, Dreaves has a tire. The enemy team really can't stop it unless they do something like destroy the tire or a well-timed bubble or well-timed arrow. In either case, it'll be interesting to see how teams try and benefit off of this tire. And it won't do much of anything other than feeding a fat bubble charge. Trying his best to keep his teammates popped up. Florida kind of just have to step back now. They have no chance of really taking it here compared to their opponents. They just aren't in a strong enough position. Your Pinky Toe still peppering them, not really doing much of anything beyond that though, considering the fact that he already has his charge for the Graviton. Speaking of, he has the Graviton Dragon Strike combo, and the enemy team doesn't have Transcendence to stop it. But the Grav got 8. Dragon still comes out, doesn't manage to find anyone. They're not exactly trading evenly, but Florida still doesn't want to give up so quickly after they've already put in so many resources. Man on Fire goes down. DQ, Sean is just trying to get out to the safety of his teammates, and he will make the great escape. Your Pinky Toe still getting staggered. Only 45 seconds left remaining. Florida doesn't have much left in the tank. All they really have going for him is that Dreaves is coming up on his Rip Tire, and the Curved has his ultimate as well. If they start getting picked off here, things will not exactly be in a strong position for them, especially considering all the things that they have to push into. The 4 ultimates. They need to get a lot of value out of this tire. Manages to at least find the main tank, but Dreaves will go down. Left himself in a bit of an open position, or might have just been caught out in general. Manfire will die. The Dragon, as the rest of the hopes of the Florida team to get much of any progress, dies as well. Dakilla will go out with a bang, not a whimper. Hitting Thrash into the wall, and that's about it. pretty well done. Pretty well done from the SanFran squad after such a close first game, literally drawing after a really close second game, where SanFran just managed to eke out the victory. It's looking like SanFran are already going to try and get the victory of this set right here, right now. If they can win this, then it will be mathematically impossible for Florida to be able to come back, and SanFran will take their victory. Where's Sky? He Alpha Caster. You're right. Me trivia, just beta.
Symmetra, you speak of law and of order, but you must know that life is chaotic by its very nature.
You'll be lectured about chaos and disorder from a machine.
Aw, my cat. Think he's hungry. Feed him after this round. Boys, feed him after this round. He's always hungry. I'm not all that worried about it.
How positively material.
Goats comp with Genji instead of Brigitte. Okay. Sure, that's fun. Sounds fun. Nope. Throw out the thing that makes it interesting. We'll just bring back the Brigitte. Okay. This is a Symmetra from Jeeves. He's trying to kind of ramp up this beam charge of his. He's gotten it pretty high, so he can be as devastating as he wants to be at this point if he can just get close enough. Enemy Reinhardt getting a bit deep in enemy territory. He's going to be punished for that. Meanwhile, Jeeves still just trying to get set up. So much of Symmetra involves such a large setup time before actually being able to do much of anything too useful. I don't know why he was suddenly looking at the ground, maybe trying to put down some turrets, but it just didn't go his way. And even though they are grabbed, SanFran will take map 2. We've gone through this. We've gone through this before. It's map 3. It is their second map win. Currently at 2-0. It is impossible for Florida to actually get back in, win the set. So this series is technically won by SanFran. Kudos to them. We do still have one map left to go because my job just seems to never end. It's 2-0. Silly rabbits. 2-0. I have recommended adding a exclamation mark score command many times. But somebody, won't name names, just hasn't done it yet. We go to Route 66, a favorite map of mine, not for any particular reason other than the fact that Route 66 seems to be the map where all of the magic happens. Route 66 is kind of a unique map in that way. We've seen the flanking bastion succeed just yesterday. Switch ebuds for Dragonborn. Cool. Swap to spectators. Ebuds, you're out. Dragonbuds, you're in. Ebuds, I guess they just didn't think that you were a strong enough carry. Haha. Sucks to suck, my guy. Sucks to suck. Alright, I'm pretty sure that we're ready to go. At least in the sense that no one's telling me that we're not. So, we'll just go ahead and get started.
Traveling to Route 66.
Route 66, much like all the payload maps, pretty good for Bastion. As I said, I recently saw, just yesterday, a team run no tanks, a Bastion who would go around and flank behind the enemy time and time again, and somehow effectively get team wipes, time and time again, and now we're just going to see if either team wants to take the lessons that our Lord and Savior Grubmerk has bestowed upon us, and hopefully they'll try and throw in a little bit of some meme strats, if you get me. Doesn't look like the defense has any interest in doing such a thing. They are going to be running pretty straightforward composition. Dragonborn, spasming, distance running soldier in 2018. Lol.
Looks like I have time to do some research.
SanFran versus Florida. It is the title of the stream. Mom, it's the title of the stream. Don't know what to say.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Yeah, big oof.
Stop the payload.
Pretty basic from both sides. Dreaves on Reaper. Cool. It's already kind of coming up the right side, forcing the enemy to go back. They don't want to deal with his cannons for arms. And now they're not going to be nearly as scared as the side of Florida have managed to get the first pick off. Pure assault coming in, basically a team wipe. Dragonborn deciding Somber isn't really his brand of hero and deciding to swap back on, or swap onto the Mei. No team really has so much of an ult advantage in this instance, but Pinky Toe is certainly coming up on having his Graviton pretty quickly. Ground charge is a little bit mistimed to take out Dragonborn. Dragonborn trying to delay for as long as he can to allow the rest of his team to get a little bit better positioned. Just not managing to really find anything out of that, though. All that SanFran is really doing at this point is just contributing a little bit more ult charge until finally they allow, for a little bit in their favor, the Graviton will come out. They want to silence any hopes and dreams that SanFran had of defending this point.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Pretty well done from Florida. They have so many ultimates going into this, they only had to use one ult to capture first, and they have so much time left. Meanwhile, while SanFran may have these support ultimates coming online soon enough, they're still generally struggling to get the rest of their ultimates that high. Distance is trying to rectify that, though, spamming into the body mass of the enemy team, getting closer and closer to his ultimate. But Dreaves nipping at the heels of the SanFran squad. Distance wants to kind of make up for that and get a few picks of his own, but it's just not enough. Only manages to find one. The Dragon Blade will find Kite. Finn's going down as well. Distance is going to die. Second is just pretty rough so far for for the SanFran squad. Even after having those abilities and using them, just not managing to find anything. I mean, you can't really blame them. So they basically got rolled and smoked in the sense of so many ultimates from Florida that it didn't even matter what chips SanFran was willing to put on the table. They just never had enough of a hand to deal with what they were doing. That's my friend. He's sexing me. It's whatever. Anyway, Valkyrie is an ultimate. Dreves has Reaper ultimate. When's he gonna use it? Good question. Ben Soccer going down with the slam. Not managing to find much of anything, but he'll get counter slammed. And off the back of Dreves using his Reaper ult to follow up, that's gonna be another basic team wipe, or at least an engagement where SanFran is gonna be forced to fall back and wait for the respawns to come through. Distance does a good job of finally getting at least a single victory for his team by getting a pick on Ascend. So as they try and contest at the very end, they will at least have a numbers advantage, and he's trying to pad that out even more, using his ultimate when he probably didn't have to. The teams are now starting to get somewhat competitive, even if it's at the very end. SanFran want to take a 3-0, and they know that in order to do that, or in order to do that a little bit easily, they need to kind of have their DPS players in particular keep having these pop-off moments that we keep on seeing from them. Although Thrash Dude cannot be ignored. This entire round, and really for the league as a whole, every single time a Thrash Dude plays, he's one of the most damage-rific supports I've ever seen. Using that Transcendence in order to keep the rest of his team alive as well. Not managing to slice through. Now Sin will get stunned out by the big slam. Ben Soccer trying to finish up the job that he started with that slam. Now swiping the rest of Florida out of the game. Hello. Your Pinky Toe and Aquila both have their tank ultimates online. Both of these could wipe a team that's ill-prepared for them on their own. Having them together is almost going to be certainly the opening that Florida needs in order to take this final point. It's so close, just one team wipe will do it. They're going to get started off pretty well. They want to try and melt the Zenyatta as the rest of the enemy team also goes down. Dragonborn, however, finding a few of his own, both supports. So if this becomes a bit of an extended fight, if these respawns manage to remake it to the payload, it'll be pretty difficult. But they don't manage to do it. Slammed back in to the spawn door. They will be forced to take their loss sitting down. 2 minutes left for the Florida team. Florida is not happy with how this round has been going for them. They're not happy one bit. Tying the first round after coming so close to winning it so many times. Losing the next two in worse and worse ways. Really unfortunate for them. They at least want to take one map out of this. They don't want to be a team that gets completely rolled this time around. Keep in mind, both of these teams lost their first games. Both these teams lost their first games, so both of them were coming into this. Trivia doesn't notice me mid-game. I don't know what to tell you. The fact is that both these teams have lost their first game, so they really wanted to try and find a bit of respite this time around. However, I'm pretty sure that especially if they take this, if they take this next loss, it'll be over, right? In that Florida will be the team in last place of the league. I think it's possible that they might already be at this stage. I'm not sure, but they're certainly close to it. Sombra stalking out the enemy team. Should have gotten spotted by that ball rolling onto her. Doomfist coming in from the backside, getting aggressive, wants to take out the Zenyatta, isn't able to do it, so he has to escape. Both sides running this Doomfist, really strong right now in this game. The Killer getting a bit aggressive, and he'll be rewarded for that with a kill on the distance. Hamster Ball slamming down, trying to get a little bit of damage in early. The Bink getting demeched a bit ahead of the rest of his team, and he'll suffer for that. Ben manages to take out Man on Fire's Mercy, but the question is, how worth it is that really? They're not doing too poorly, SanFran. They have still been pushing this payload for the entire time that the game's been going, but finally they'll have to take a step back. Dreves doing a little bit of tickle damage. He wants to get this EMP. Speaking of ultimates, so many already online for Florida. Now Dreves caught out. Wall to his backside. Nowhere to run to. Didn't have a translocator in good enough position. Still, look, almost 2 minutes burned. Almost 2 minutes burned for the side of SanFran. Not much progress made at this stage. They still have so many ultimates to try and push past and beat. I can't imagine it's going to be easy. The shatter comes down. Ryan trying to save his teammate. Graviton as well. Perhaps a little bit overzealous, especially with the EMP coming out, but in either case, the result is going to be the same. Florida will win this fight and delay the timing of the enemy team even more. Looking to boop that Reinhardt off the map, just failing. He overextends a bit, stays a bit too long for comfort, gets obliterated. Notice that after all the ultimates that were just used by the side of Florida, they still basically already have them again. Your Pinky Toe, doesn't matter if you have your Graviton if you're already dead though. Dreves evening up the score. And off the back of that, the Killer wants to get in hot and heavy. More trades coming through, but what really matters is this objective, and it's still moved hardly inches for the past 2 minutes. The Killer will probably die here, in fact almost certainly, as his health slowly gets lower and lower, but he does have a shatter if he decides it's worth using it. Gets walled off by the Mei, protecting herself, and will die to the Diva Bomb. Really well played coordination between between distances Mei and Bink's Diva that entire time. It's looking like this should finally, after 4 minutes, be the side of SanFran, pushing this into the end. Not quite though, this hasn't been given up on yet by the Florida team. They think that they can still stop this right here and right now, and it's a bit of a overzealous, bit optimistic play as we see them slowly fall. A lot of abilities used in pursuit of that. It will make it there eventually, but they have still burned so much time that you have to wonder if they're even too bothered about it. Dreves still has his EMP when he decides to use it. There it comes. They see that Ben has the shatter and they want to take him out if they can, but the Mei freeze somehow managing to survive the EMP is going to be so deadly. Dreves hooked into a fire strike. Ben slamming the Mei, slamming the Brigitte into the wall. The Killer knows his enemy has the ultimate, even though he does not. Just want to try and eke it out. Didn't really get the chance to. But Ben using his ultimate, not finding anything. So I think as far as Florida's going to be concerned, that's not too bad of a loss anyway. It's looking like SanFran should be on track to take second. But again, compared to their opponents and their time frame that their opponents have, they're not doing incredibly well. They're doing about as well as they could after getting stalled on first for so long. But it seems like Florida just have this kind of idea to keep on going back and putting bodies on the payload and bodies on the payload and just stall it for as long as we can. Even if we don't win these fights, just keep on going in and going in and going in. And I kind of like the idea in theory, but what it ends up doing is feeding a lot of ult charge, so you actually get team wiped a lot more because your enemy has so many ultimates to win engagements that much easily, or that much easier. See, Send is going to come on here and he's going to stall this payload and try and get a pick off as well until finally gets spotted out and he decides, I can't even go that deep in. The killer has the shatter. His opponent does not. He wanted to find a flank for it. It gets spotted. He has to charge out of the freeze. He's going to be looking for this slam. Is he going to find one that he's happy with? Eventually just settles on hitting the Diva. Not able to do anything though through the Transcendence healing. Going in with the charge, going to catch the Roadhog and slam him into the wall. Roadhog, EMP'd, cannot use his self-heal. That doesn't mean that the rest of his team is any less effective. They've been graviton to the point, but I don't think that they're going to be too upset about that, considering that that's kind of where they want to be anyway. They want to be moving this. Florida have already guaranteed that they're going to have way more time than their opponents as far as actually going on to the overtime, but they wanted to try and stop them from even capping in the first place, and after the Diva Bomb comes in and basically ruins Florida's day, it's going to be a bit difficult. Again, Send is going to try and delay this for as long as he can. I think the end goal here for Florida is just, let's try and get this into overtime, but they get walled off, and I don't think anyone can touch. Going into overtime. Overtime. Yeah. Now as the teams kind of see themselves backed into a little bit of an interesting situation, we know that the side of SanFran really don't have much to work with here. Only having a minute, they decide to go with a bit of a interesting composition here. Triple tank. Tanks are kind of meant to not only support the Bastion, but also keep themselves alive. The Diva defense matrix should be basically used on the Bastion anytime they start to get focused down in order to keep him alive for just long enough for the rest of his teammates to kind of help him out. Meanwhile, the Roadhog won't do much. I mean, especially against the composition that it looks like their team, or the opposing team of Florida is running. Roadhog won't end up doing too much at all. However, it will be another body for the enemy to focus on instead of the Bastion, and that's kind of what they're hoping for.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Greaves is going to spot that Bastion coming out early. The question is he going to make any sort of plan to hack the Bastion? He does manage to get the hack off, perhaps a little bit too early. He's also in a kind of rough position as well, so hack comes through and it was a good idea, but it's not going to stop the Bastion from getting set up whatsoever. I wanted to make a little bit of space and distance, getting a little bit weak on Bastion. I mean, the Pocket Mercy can only do so much, especially after Mercy's healing has been reduced the way that it has been. May is coming from behind, wants to try and focus at least somebody down, but it's kind of a broken assault onto this Bastion cart. It's not really going to work out in their favor. The killer now all the way away from his teammates, and the Bastion's going to know exactly what he's trying to do and focus them out in the first place. Distance. Man on a mission. Just wants to take out the entire enemy team. Is that too much to ask for? His team already have a pretty big numbers advantage, but he doesn't want any sort of last-minute hero plays, so he decides to use the Bastion's tank configuration and try and take out anyone who might dare try and stop them from capping first. Speaking of, it's looking like first is going to be theirs. No one's really contesting it. Distance, while getting low, is still going to take out not only the Zarya, but also the Mercy. Pretty well done, and the Junk or not the junk, the other two, or the DPS, will get caught out as well. Even worse for the side of Florida, you now have to deal with the fact that Thrash Dude has his Transcendence, so he can basically keep his entire team alive through the Graviton, through the Rhine Shatter, through the Mayfreeze. Maybe not all at once, but certainly individually. Distance kind of going on a bit of a flanking Bastion route, and it's not going to work out in his favor. He gets caught out. That might be the big thing that the side of Florida was looking for. Distance back again, gets res, being healed by the Zenyatta. He might be looking to tank config. Is he going to manage to find much of anything with it though? He manages to get the final kill onto Tequila. Soccer going hamster ball. He just wants to touch if he can, but no one's able to make it there. The overtime wick has been burning for far too long. No one can make it.
Score 4-3. Switching sides.
And now, side of Florida deciding, hey, Bastion worked for them pretty well. Right, guys? Why won't it work for us? Again, I'm a big fan of Route 66 because it usually ends up devolving into who has the better Bastion. And I think that that's a bit of an interesting fight to see between two teams. Especially two teams such as these that, as far as I'm aware, don't usually include Bastion in their repertoires.
Hello. Greetings.
Luckily for Florida, there's not going to be any sort of Sombra on the enemy team that can hack the Bastion out, and first being able to use turret mode, and second being able to self-heal. They are going to have to deal with a lot of big, beefy tanks though. Roadhog up top. He's trying to get a hook in. The Mei was trying to cut the Bastion off from the rest of the team. Sin kind of losing his shield for a second. The rest of his team had to divert their attention onto the Roadhog. It's kind of left without anything to do here. The Mei wall protecting him as much as it's hindering him. Finally decides, I can't really stay here, I have to back off, and he just manages to survive. The rest of his team doing quite a lot of work behind the scenes here. Even though the Bastion is the center of all the attention, the focal point, does not mean that his teammates are non-existent. In fact, they're using the fact that this Bastion is the focus to their advantage, getting quite a lot done as the enemy team struggles to even manage to deal with Sin. Might be looking to tank configuration here if he decides that he needs it, but I don't think that's going to be happening whatsoever. The Mayfreeze comes out, but May's going to die. Bit of a waste, really. With a minute left, and not even in overtime yet, Florida is still in position to try and kind of avenge themselves and take this first map. A little bit of help from Send all the way in the back. Just gonna be done. Dragonborn up top. Is anyone gonna spot him? He's in a bit of an awkward place, so no one might expect him to be on the way, but it's gonna be difficult to approach. Reaper does not do too well against armor. Sin, in this tank configuration mode, still gets shut down by the Reinhardt Shatter. So many hacks, so many ultimates. Bomb doesn't find anyone. Bastion gets rezzed. But SanFran. SanFran cementing the fact that they wanted to take this entire series. A final fire strike from Ben. At best, it'll be little nuggets of resistance that Florida can put up against the enemy team. 3-0. Mercy dancing. They did it. SanFran 3, Florida 0. GG everyone. I'm now going to interview people. The question is, who do I interview? I'm picking Dreves. Dreves, you're the first one. I'm going to interview Dreves, and then I'm going to interview... Who should I interview, chat? Chat, tell me, I'm indecisive. Who do you want to hear from the most? The bank? That's fair. Distance? I can see that too. West? Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I'm going distance. Dreves isn't accepting the party invite. Feels bad, man. But that's fine. So, distance time. Hola. So, you are one of the newer members of the Discord, I believe. Both pretty new, but I think most people at least who've just watched the game or just finished watching the game would agree. Pretty sound DPS. Pretty good. Yeah, they were well, I will say run ballsy stuff, but ballsy stuff ended up winning you guys the round 3-0. So more. Yeah, it was really in general for basically everyone who was watching. We kind of came to the consensus that Volskaya was a good showing in the sense of that, you know, both teams did so well on attack, but everything seemed a bit broken on defense. I imagine that was a little bit frustrating for both teams. Mm-hmm. Hold on, my mistake. It says you need to share your voice. Yeah, there's a thing where you have to allow your voice to be on, bro. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, that's good now.
All right.
But yeah, I feel like Volskaya, we have we have two tank players in the lineup already, and I'm trying to play Zarya, and we either get triple tank and feed a lot into a Zarya Rein, and our supports don't look like they know what they're doing, trying to heal three full huge HP tanks, or we have just Rein Zarya, and we have a DPS that is underperforming. And Volskaya, it was just a rough map. I feel like we definitely could have capped it if we just decided to go top instead of mid there at the end. That was just a bad call, and the Mei split us off. But it wasn't a loss, so that's fun. And then Lijiang, that was a fun map.
Yeah, Lijiang was kind of the map where a lot of people, again, that were watching, agreed. Okay, so the series is kind of starting to come alive now. As
Yeah, Lijiang, me and Ebuds on that's something we practice a decent amount is the Reaper Mei or the Doomfist Mei or whatever. Just weird Doomfist Mei Reaper rotations on Lijiang tend to work pretty well. Like at one point he kept point alive on his own on Reaper, and then another time I kept point alive on my own as Doomfist. And I don't think they even got any capture percent on Night Market, but I'm not sure.
I don't
And
exactly.
King's Row was so boring. They wasted 50 seconds going around on a rotation that ended up being useless. And then from there, they just gave me no charge on Zarya, and they just didn't try pushing much at all. It was just a really slow game, and I wanted an actual King's Row game.
It was just kind of unfortunate. I think they probably had some kind of plan, or they just kind of thought,
Yeah,
okay, well, we'll go up top because we know that they're having people hide up there that we can't reach. So first we'll clear them out, and then we'll jump on
it was
squishies.
a smart move, but I feel like they did it wrong. It's something that could have done better with a different hero pool and
Well,
a
the
lot
thing
more
is,
efficiently. Because by the time they dropped on point, it was 3 minutes on the timer. They
uh,
wasted effectively a minute doing nothing.
the thing is, it was basically the Glad's strat. It's basically the Glad strat of going back around and up top, but for some reason they chose to go through kind of an odd path through Hotel, which takes a lot more time. But in either case, it was basically just a plan of theirs that, unfortunately for them, didn't work, and they got full held. But I think overall, SanFran, as the unit showed, they did a good job. You guys did a good job of slowly kind of learning. First round took a very long time for you guys to get a hold of things, but then Li Zhang, and then it kind of became a little bit more of a steamroll as time went on.
Yeah.
So I think after...
And we definitely need to work on synergy as a team.
Well, in either case, I think this was a pretty good interview. Thanks for coming on. I think
No
looking
problem.
forward to seeing you and your friend DPS as well.
Yeah.
Do some
Can't even
stuff
call us
in the league.
DPS when we play just whatever. We tried
Flex players.
asking our captain. Yeah, we're just basically flexes. But we tried asking our captains to run some really niche comps. Like here on Route 66, let's bench our Mercy player and put Ebuds in on Mercy with me on Pharah. And then on King's Row, let's bench both our tank players and put Ebuds in on Rhine. Because like we're really flexible and we've got a whole lot of synergy, and it's just a lot of potential.
Yep, I'm always a fan of trying out some potential and maybe going for something a bit of a weird comp. But in either case, that's basically about it here. Now I try and find someone from Florida because the only person
One thing
I've
I can
asked to
recommend to
interview so far
Florida is learn how to counter goats. Because
it
whenever
seemed
we ran goats, they just didn't have anything.
it seems to be a bit of a theme in this league, and something that I end up talking about every single time that I cast, because people run goats every single time in this league, is, there are set counters to goats. There's spam, there's on a nade, there's a lot of things, but it seems like most people kind of just don't seem to even
To be able to
attempt
count. Yeah.
to run it. There seems to be a major lack of Ana players in the league as a whole, really. So,
Yeah, that
maybe
sucks. Lana is really fun.
Ana is really fun. But, I suppose going into it, we'll see how SanFran ends up doing going into next week and the rest of the stage. So this was
Yeah.
pretty good. And now again, I try and find someone from Florida. Yeah, we'll see. I think I'll at least be able to find one. All right, adios. I used to be on Florida. No deity. Alright, now I invite someone from Florida. Anyone you want, go ahead. I'm being told anyone you want, go ahead. But I've already invited someone, and they didn't join. Oh boy. Time to go on to recent players. DeKiller, he was on that. DeKiller, it's your time. I was wondering when that controller was gonna die. It was on its last legs for like most of that round. Alright, well, no one's showing up. There it is. Hello. No problem. So, bit of an unfortunate round for you guys, I'll say. Hold on, hold on, hold on. First, share your voice. Or allow your voice to be shared. Uh, yeah, you have to put it in like party settings, or something like that. It's like privacy. Yeah, you have to allow it to be shared on stream.
Always allow. Does that work? Hello? Hello, hello, hello.
Chad will tell us in just a second. It probably worked. In any case, uh, so again, a little bit of a rough. Okay, it works. A little bit of a rough go around. You guys said that you just feel like you're a little bit unconfident. You said.
Correct, yeah. I mean, I think we're pretty solid on our tanks and healers. It's just when we get to the DPS part of it, I know, Sandio and, Reeves that were playing it today. Sandio's confident on DPS. I don't know if Reeves is. He's one of our main flex players, so. and it's kind of hard to do something when he's not confident on anything else besides Sombra, so it's hard to do.
Because I seem to recall casting. I casted Florida's off-season game,
Yes.
and I remember that being a pretty dominant showing, because it seemed like you guys were just this very aggressive team that just slammed right into the enemy and didn't give them any chance to breathe or any room. And it seemed like at least then you guys were either very confident or just very lucky with your sort of play style.
So actually, for that, we switched our comp up, which we're hoping to switch it back to that. We were running if you saw Moira Zenyatta or Moira Mercy a lot, and that's why we won games, but we didn't want two main healers, so we decided to switch it up. We switched our off tank down to a support, and one of our DPS to an off tank, which we needed it today because our off tank was not available, so we had to have him as the off tank as your pinky toe.
Mm-hmm.
So after week 1 we were like, we need to switch something up. So we switched places around, mid DPS to supports DPS, see how they feel on it. We feel when we're going into comps and all that, we felt confident then, but I guess when we go into the scrim, we kind of, squeeze up and like get nervous and freeze.
So you think that's more just a matter of maybe for some reason a little bit of jitters coming in, either because you're playing in like an on-season game or because you guys are playing against another organized team?
Yeah, it's just if you actually, someone mentioned this in the Discord right now. Actually, it was we're playing like we are all in solo queue, so we need to figure out what our best best fits our team. And I actually think that's a good thing, because we are playing like we're all in like a solo queue. We don't know who we are. Like, it's just a bunch of random people playing with each other, pretty much what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
a lot of randoms in voice, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to hoping for next week is that we got a couple practice set up. I want to see how better we do if we practice a little bit more, move us back to how we played aggressive. Because I love playing aggressive, and I loved it, so I want to go back to it.
Now, I remember just a second ago, I interviewed one of your opponents who did a pretty good job. It was, who was it? It was Distance. Distance did a pretty good job on DPS. In fact, some would say their DPS line was basically the thorn in you guys' side the whole time. They did really well. But he made a comment that he thought your team's biggest problem, and in fact I think that this is probably the league's biggest problem, is no one seems to really understand how to counter goats.
That's actually, that was our problem in the first map. As you saw, we were, when they were coming into the first time, we were confused why they were running goats, because it's platinum, no one really runs goats.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, all right, let's switch it up. Let's get like a spam. Let's get Junkrat, Pharaoh. See if that works out. We got rolled. Next way we come through, or something, like we try it one more time, see if it worked. And then we finally, when it come to the second point, after that second overtime, we're like, all right, Pharaoh and Junkrat's not working. Let's switch to a Reaper. Let's switch to let's leave the Pharaoh. I think we stuck or something like that. We held for a little bit, but we still pretty much got rolled. That third time we're coming around, the first point we had that Reaper. Farah still, I'm pretty sure. We had the pharmacy running, and we held it for a little bit, but got rolled through. We had like 2 minutes left to hold the second point. We switched to the Mei. Switching to the Mei was probably the best decision we should have done ever since we lost that first point before even overtime happened. Mm-hmm. And that's on my fault, because I mentioned it, but it wasn't like, let's try this first, and then let's try this, and then let's try this. We need to. I think we found our counter to goats, at least. Maybe we're gonna have to practice it more, see if we can get another scrim going up this coming week, and see if we can practice a counter to goats. I don't know, but I mean, it worked pretty well. We got the draw, and I mean, we obviously didn't get the results we wanted, but
Yep. Well,
that's how it is.
I hope that you guys can get a little bit more confident and maybe return to form. Sounds like you guys have a pretty good idea or understanding of what caused this game to be a little bit rough. So going into next weekend, I think we're probably going to be getting a lot better games as all the teams that have now either lost or won kind of start to realize where their strengths and weaknesses actually are against all the different teams.
Yeah, and another thing, what I was just to add in, it's the fact that you saw SanFran, they were subbing in every game.
Hmm.
My team, we're getting to the fact that players are coming inactive, and it happens. But once we get the more free agents in here, and I get the signing, I think we'll have better, we'll have more options.
Hmm.
That's just how I see it. As we were kind of limited to what we could, but if we keep more people in here, we have more, you know, extra DPS players and extra tank players, off healer, main healer. You know how it is.
Hmm.
If we get the more free agent signs, I think we'll be. I'm not saying we'll do better, but it'll give us more options to play different DPS to see what works best.
Yeah, I think I told this to, or I talked about this with Ageless at one point that the league or the community, sorry, can't call it a league, uh, that the community just kind of needs more bodies at the moment. That's kind of one of the things that we're really struggling with as a whole, but we'll get there. Uh,
Yeah.
slowly but surely, we will get there. So this has been a pretty good interview, at least from my perspective. Uh,
Same here.
thanks
Same
for
here.
doing it, and looks like we are about wrapped up for the second day of the second week. Glad to see it went relatively smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thank you for having me on for an interview. Appreciate it.
No problem. Now that's uh, that's me done. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the stream. It's been going for too long, and see you next weekend, everyone.